I believe we all understand the difference between protection of human rights and promotion of human rights. Promotion is rather working on the preventive side, so that things don't escalate or violations don't happen. And the protection usually is responding because something has happened, the violation has happened. So under the protection mechanisms, we do have the mandate to receive complaints of human rights violations. Then we also have the mandate to investigate complaints that have been lodged with us, or also investigate at our own initiative. So the Commission does that, as I had said earlier, through the different regional offices that we have. Everyone can walk in, anybody basically really can walk in and lodge these complaints in our different offices. And the beauty, like I said earlier, is that the officers there are speaking the local dialect. So anybody within that particular space can receive that particular help. Or we can use our toll-free numbers. We have toll-free numbers for all our regional offices as well as the head office, and lodge this particular complaint. We have a UHRC app. We do have community engagements, and all these platforms are put in place to see that people can report or can lodge this particular complaint. When the complaint is lodged, then it has to be investigated. We have investigators at all these offices that look at these violations, and before they can be brought before the tribunal, they collect evidence that is required, and also to see if indeed there is a prima facie complaint or a case. Is there a case to answer? So there are different ways the investigators then see if something can be handled, if a matter can be handled through mediation, mediation is done. If a matter can be done by us calling stakeholders and sit together and discuss and see that that comes to an end. For example, in the Albertine region where I served for a couple of years, would usually get complaints from human rights defenders saying they're always at loggerhead with the police. So we sat together and made a meeting, just a gathering together, and agreed that we are all working towards the protection and promotion of human rights, and reminding the security officers of their role in seeing that whatever they are doing, they're not violating others' rights, and an MOU was entered to that particular effect to improve on that working relationship. So before matters even escalate to the tribunal, our court, other initiatives can be done. We also have a referral pathway in place, and also we work with the different human rights defenders to also come up with different pathways. I remember I used to do some work with Robert when I was in the Rwenzori region. And so all these are mechanisms to see that indeed we do get redress when violations occur. And if the violation gets to the level of a tribunal, it will be heard to its logical conclusion. And all the services across the chain are usually are free of charge. There is no particular fee, because we know we are serving the most vulnerable people. Another mechanism in place by the Uganda Human Rights Commission is also the monitoring of places of detention. Monitoring, because of all since morning we've been looking at the laws and the mechanisms. Remember that these mechanisms are put in place to check us. Are we doing the right thing? Are we upholding the international, regional, and national human rights standards? So we do monitor places of detention. These are police, prisons, and military detention facilities. So the latter sometimes is an uphill task, but we do monitor all, because their basic needs have to be met. In as much as they are accused of committing crime or suspected to have committed crime, they remain human beings and have to be treated with dignity. So we do visit them, and the beauty is we have conversations with the inmates without the officers to assess what is actually happening. And the challenges that have been on for the over and over, these are challenges that continue. Number one is that overcrowding in these places of detention. Why? Because the justice system is a chain link. The prisons, people are the tail end of it. So now we're advocating for the people at the beginning parts. For example, if it's police officers, if it is court, can we encourage alternative dispute resolution so that we don't end up with so many people in the system? Also, the issues of prolonged pre-trial detention. In January, we came up with, when we visited Luzira, we came up with a list of all these people that had been on detention for long. It's very sad to find someone has been on remand for 10 years, 28 years, 17 years. It's really sad, but it's the realities of what is happening in our prisons. But I'm happy to report that we compiled this list, and together with the Human Rights Committee of Parliament, it tasked Ministry of Justice for those that were pending ministerial orders for their matters to be heard. And about 18 of them that were ministerial orders, their matters were dealt with. And judiciary tells us now they also that they're doing something called plea bargaining. But also plea bargaining has its challenges. We find that because people have been on detention for long, they end up accepting charges so that they can just be done with it, though they did not commit an offense. So who do we do this monitoring exercises with? Many a times we'll work with the judicial officers themselves and office of the DPP. Why do we do this? So that they can see the conditions and the situation of the people they are churning out these particular facilities. When I just joined the commission, about over a decade ago, when we used to visit prisons, you would find people wearing tattered uniforms, very dirty. You would find them in police cells. You would find the buckets that they use to ease themselves on everything. But over time, these have changed at least. Are we there yet? No, we are not there yet, but there's some improvement. That at least the bucket system in the prisons has greatly reduced. And also in police cells, because we kept on encouraging the officers, open for these people, escort them out. It's only human. It's very inhumane for about 20 people to sit in a space with this kind of waste with you. And then the other mechanism also that is in place by the Uganda Human Rights Commission is also advocacy, collaborations, and networking. And Councillor Bonica really emphasized that there is strength in putting our voices together and speaking the same lingo. So we do have these collaborations with state actors and also non-state actors. As I had earlier alluded to, this mandate is very broad. We can't say that we can go at it alone, so we do leverage on the different partnerships. We also go ahead and continue to sensitize the state actors on their obligation to respect human rights. Because Article 20 says that all of us in the implementation of our work as state actors, we are supposed to respect and promote human rights. Though sometimes we see what we see, maybe arrests not done in a proper way. We're seeing these issues of a prolonged trial. We're seeing absenteeism. We receive complaints of lawyers on state brief acting in a not so appropriate way. We see arbitrary arrests. All these things we are seeing there. So we continue and urge and say no, that is wrong, and hold all these officers, all the different officers accountable. And also you have seen different press releases from the Uganda Human Rights Commission, particularly the chairperson, and also calling upon all of us, the different state actors and non-state actors, to see that we respect and promote human rights. We also go ahead and do the different trainings particularly for security officers. And why? Now that the election season is also upon us, we are doing this across the country. We're sitting together with police, sitting together with the UPDF, we're sitting together with prisons. And we are reminding ourselves of that obligation to respect human rights. And that we do in collaboration with the Electoral Commission. And then also lastly, we do also do public awareness on the different rights, because ignorance of the law is no what? It's no defense. And also, as citizens, we have duties to respect rights. But the rights and laws you're telling us about, maybe we do not know them. So through that a particular angle of civic education, we work with numerous state and non-state actors. We do work with civil society, we do work with police, and also sometimes opinion leaders and the religious leaders themselves along these particular entities. So in a nutshell, that's what we do as Uganda Human Rights Commission. I'm going to prepare a detailed presentation and I'll share with Jeff, and then it can be shared with the participants. Thank you very much for listening to me.